Welcome to the No Dick Pics podcast. I'm Christina.
I'm Max.
Welcome to episode 16. What?
I'm just said I'm Max. And I
Oh,
said,
okay.
yeah, that's me.
It's me.
That's me.
So, how have you been? How was your birthday?
Oh, well, how was your birthday?
Oh, we want to talk about my birthday?
Because she can't remember.
I don't know. I hear it was great.
Yeah. So we all
How?
went out together.
Yeah.
We met some of your friends, and then some of my friends met up.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper's Hawk in Oswego, which when we were driving up, I thought it was just like in the Sam's Club. I didn't know Oswego had a Cooper's Hawk. That's high end
It's
for
new.
Oswego.
It
Yeah,
just
it's
opened.
nice. So we did some wine tasting, and next thing you know, it was like 3, 4 o'clock, and she was like, and I was bringing up stories like, "Hey, do you remember?" And she's like, "No, I don't remember." I was
No,
like, "What do you remember?" So it was pretty funny.
very little. So, it was so nice to meet your friends. I would love to meet them again because I don't remember. Like, I do. I remember some of it, but I don't remember conversations, and that's so weird for me because I drink wine all the time.
I remember your friends.
Yeah.
I thought for sure you snuck in a martini or two because I'm like, how could she be this bad
I don't
drinking wine?
know.
But
I'm so good at drinking wine, that's why I don't know. It's so weird, but, like, I had the wine tastings usually 8 drinks or 8 tastings. So I had my 8, and then she gave me a couple extra because it was my birthday, and then I had, like, 4 of yours because 'cause you're like, you drink it."
yeah, because some of them were
Yeah.
the dessert ones sucked.
So, I don't know, but I feel like stop. Stop.
It tastes like a Tootsie Roll. I hate Tootsie
Excuse
Rolls. Why would
me.
I want to drink a fucking Tootsie Roll?
Let's not
Oh, Tootsie Rolls
dis
look like turds.
let's not disparage Tootsie
No,
Roll.
no, Tootsie Roll is a great company and they make
Yes.
other good things. But the Tootsie Roll itself, like, I don't know how to say this nicely. It sucks
Yeah,
balls.
let's choose our words carefully because 'cause they're my employers.
Yeah. No, no, no. Like I said, more power to them. They make money off of it. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to taste good. I don't understand
I like them.
I don't understand Tootsie Roll.
A
Yeah.
fresh Tootsie Roll, like, right off the line is delicious.
Now Junior Mints, I mean,
Yeah.
top notch.
I walk into
Not
work
because
and
it's
it just, like,
Seinfeld,
smells
but
like chocolate. It's
yeah.
amazing. Did you like when I had my first day, I texted you?
Oh, that was so awesome. The Seinfeld room, I
Yeah,
would
the
have lost
Seinfeld
it.
room.
Yeah.
That's the room they put me in? I'm like, "No
Yep.
way." Yeah. So, I hear I had a great time.
Yeah.
It was fun. I fell asleep at what, like 5? I don't know.
You were passed out.
I was done. So what did I do for my birthday or that night? I don't know. I slept at 5 o'clock. Wild. But I can day drink. I do it all the time. And I just don't know. I couldn't hang that time. So it's that age. It's
Sure someone didn't,
getting
like,
older.
drop a roofie or something in your drink?
Was it you?
No, it might have been maybe it was one of your friends, I don't know.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, the people I trust most in my
Yeah.
life.
Here, pop this in her drink. She'll be really fun.
This is so funny. You do this to Christina. No. I don't know what happened, but it was fun, I think.
I enjoyed myself.
Did you? That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was your birthday?
I remember all of it.
Do you?
Yeah. Went to Bob Chin's, which I haven't been to in, like, 7 years.
Yeah.
The old man died a few years ago, so I wasn't sure. I mean, people are like, "Oh, it's not the same," but that's what people say about everything. Um, I just wanted soft shell crab and oysters, and that's what I got. I was happy. Man, stuff was so good.
Sure. Okay. Well, we did our food review there.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to see what we had for dinner, it's on no food pics underscore IG. We did a whole little reel on Bob
That
Chin's.
is a clever name.
It
That
is.
is whoever
It
like that.
is.
They're like up a notch in life.
I will give you credit. That's a great name. Well done.
9 minutes later,
We have a great guest today.
I'm excited. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind
Um,
of weird. Yeah, well, we'll set it up in the interview, but um, after we broke up, that was when I went. after we broke up, I went on Hinge. I mean, I was on Hinge earlier. We
Mhm.
established that, but I started talking to her, and it was. I mean, it was different. We had a nice connection and stuff. But she was, I was like, I just threw the podcast out there, and she started listening to it and stuff, and she was like, "Wait, you're." I'm like, "No, yeah, yeah, we broke up and stuff," and so we started really bonding over the podcast, and we talked and stuff, and it was nice. But I mean, we just knew like there was probably no chance. So we just were like, I think we'll be better friends. And so I've stayed in touch and stuff. Sometimes I say, hey, how you doing and stuff. And, but she's a therapist. So it'll be
Mhm.
pretty cool to see that point of view and to
Yes.
show people it doesn't matter. Like being a therapist, shit still happens to you.
I am excited about having a professional on the show. It makes me feel like we're legit, like we have
Yeah. And
a
talk
therapist.
about what she sees, what's wrong
Yeah,
and what's going on. And, it's a fucked up world, and
it
she's gonna
really
she's gonna
is.
put some insight in it. I'm pretty excited. I was excited she wanted to come on. So
Yeah, yeah. So, we have that coming up after this. Um, do you have anything you wanna add, or we're just gonna keep this short because the interview is so good?
yeah, I mean, there's not much to add. I mean,
We can talk about more about, like, what happened on the back end.
I like back end.
Okay.
See, this is what a funny person does. He adds humor with
I add humor.
you add humor
I'm
too.
delightful. We have different styles, but they work well together, so that's why our podcast is so good.
Podcasting 101.
Max and Christina. The sound should be better. I'm gonna say that. I apologize because I have had people ask me what was going on with the sound at the last episode. I don't know, but I have a new mic. My hair dryer is gone. I have the same mic as Max. Okay, let's wrap it up. We're gonna have
Cut it
Bijana.
out.
We will be back with Bijana, and it's gonna be a great segment.
Good
So
stuff. Good stuff.
good stuff.
Good
All
stuff.
right, we will be back. Bye.
Yeah, I'll share a couple of stories. And then, I did listen earlier today while I laid on my deck. I listened to the podcast from last time you guys
Yeah.
recorded. And there's a couple of things that, I thought I could comment on. So that gave me a
Yeah.
little bit to work with. So that was good.
It's great.
Yeah. And then if you
Was
have
it
any,
about him?
yeah, actually.
Yes.
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting getting, from dating, I ended up getting a lot of male friends actually. So it's
Same.
it's
Yeah.
really interesting to see their perspective on things. And being a therapist as well, I talk to a lot of my clients, both male and female, about their dating experiences. So it's an interesting intersection of like my personal experience and also my professional experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I figured we could do that. We could talk about the things that you have notes on because I love that. Um,
Yeah.
and we have some topics just based on like dating to see if you have any like thoughts, anything you can
Yeah,
share with people to
absolutely.
kind of help because it's rough. But I feel the same way. I have so many guy friends now
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm like, this isn't working out, but let's just be friends.
Yeah.
Um,
It worked.
I love that
yeah,
look.
But I was always against that. That was
yeah,
the funny thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Well,
I
and quite a few. Well, I think it's also the difference in the way that men view dating versus the way that women view dating. I mean,
yeah,
if we're not together, we're friends. That's it. And so, but I think a lot of times when you're just dating, guys like to think of it as like, okay, well, I date her, but she's not my girlfriend. And
yeah,
girls think like, well, you're not my boyfriend, so we're friends.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's those labels that you love. You love it.
No labels.
No labels, huh?
And I
Okay.
just got back from therapy, so I was
Hmm.
like, I feel healed a little
He's
bit.
Oh
healed.
yeah. What did you cover in therapy?
Uh, just going forward, you know, after breaking up and like what I'm doing and how we, how it feels and stuff, and doing the whole friendship. Still hanging out because I think we hang out more than I think we did when we dated.
We do.
That's great.
Yeah.
So and just
Well, and it sounds like it's because you don't feel, any pressure with
Yeah,
that.
that's exactly what it
it is.
is.
It's the same
Mhm.
for me too, because like I was putting a lot of pressure on it that didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And so now I don't have that anxiety either. Because I was always like, I don't know how he feels. I don't know what he's thinking. Now I don't care. So
Yeah.
I
Right.
do. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. That's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started then.
Okay.
You
Sounds
want to
good.
introduce her?
you can do it. You're better.
All right. We'd like to welcome Bijana to the No Dick Pics podcast. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
We're so
Thank you
glad to
for
have
having me.
you. So, do you want to kind of say how you know Bijana? How?
Yeah. So right. I mean, it's like pretty much right after we broke up, I was on Hinge, and
We
we
know that
met.
story.
We started talking, and then I was just like, I threw it out. I was like, I have a podcast, and so she started listening to it, but she didn't
Mhm.
realize like, wait, you guys broke up? Because she's like, no, I'm like, no, yeah, we broke up. So,
No,
but we started,
hold
yeah,
on. Let me jump in there for a second. So he says I have this podcast, and then I listen to it, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is your girlfriend that you're on the podcast with, and and he's like, oh no, we broke up. I'm like, yesterday? Like, did you like what?
Like it really was, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
And I think I wrote boy bye.
I was like, what?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But then you kept listening to it, and we were kept like the conversation was around the podcast, and so it was fun. And you would be asking me questions and stuff, and I think that's kind of how we both realized like this is I mean like a friendship, and so
Yeah.
we stayed in touch and stuff, and I mean yeah. But it was funny because it's like based off the podcast, which is pretty cool, and it was nice because it was like I kept telling her it's like no, she's a therapist, and she says most of these podcasts put her to sleep, and she really enjoys it. She really enjoys it. I
Yes,
was
I
really
did.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did.
thank you for listening.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Was it?
And the other issue too is like if you're trying to date women and you're having them listen to the podcast, she's great. They're gonna love her. So that
Thank you.
so you're welcome. So that I don't know. You might want to leave that out in the future.
Well, I was thinking also it's a good feeler to really see if they're really secure with themselves or not, because some people so. But yeah, I mean it was I enjoyed it, and it was I think because you did it backwards. I think you started at the end and
I
started
did.
going.
I started at the very last one, and then I'm like, well, what in the world is going on? I thought it was great, but I just, yeah, it was interesting. It was very
Yeah.
interesting. It
That's a
was
way to
one of
meet
my more
someone.
interesting interactions, honestly.
That's a
But I
new story
did,
for her. It's one of
yeah,
the stories she's going to tell the
that,
Yeah.
kids yours.
that was a good story. But I did start listening to the podcast, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank
Honestly, and then I listened to the breakup one, and I was a little mad at you for that. I didn't like that one at all. So I'm like, what is going on with the situation? So it was very interesting. I mean,
Yeah,
not that you did anything wrong necessarily, but I was. It made me sad because I liked you together. So, um, but I appreciate all of the insight and the information. I really liked the one with your couple that you went to the wedding. I thought that was great. And I
yeah,
think one of the things I want to point out about that is and this might be, I think, important for you to think about. The reason their relationship was so strong was because he immediately said, this is the person I want to be with. And I think that when dating, especially today, there's a lot of superficial interactions. You get to know people, but you're not really diving in or connecting with people. There's a lot of getting to know someone, which
yes,
is basically small talk.
Mhm.
um, and so I think that you know when you're talking about something more long term or serious, usually it's a commitment to that person regardless of what that looks like. I can tell you, I was with my husband for 20 years, and I think we were hanging out for a month, and I said, I'm either going to marry this man or he's going to be my best friend. I knew. And I don't think everybody's like that. I mean, some people, are unsure, but I think that a lot of times men in particular look for a reason. They look for a person to draw them out, or draw that out in them. And I think it's more of a, being open and ready for that. um, yeah, so I think in terms of dating, if you want something serious, you have to know that you're ready for that, before dating. If you and it's okay if you don't, if you want, more of the, casual dating, that's okay too. I respect people that know that that's what they're after, because if that's not what I'm looking for, what somebody else is looking for, then they're not wasting anyone's time or
Yeah.
hurting anyone's feelings, and that's the most important thing. Is being true to yourself and being honest with the people that you interact with, I think.
That's what I thought was interesting about Rachel and Dan, because when Rachel was talking to her therapist said, "Why don't you try guys who say they're looking for casual because you know they're being honest?" Because all
Hmm.
guys say long term, but
Right.
haven't met one yet. So, you know,
Yeah.
so it's just the guys who are only putting in casual are being honest, at least, or being like, "This is all I want. I'm not gonna bullshit you and say I want long term because I don't know that I do."
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the whole idea of being excited about somebody and the butterflies, I heard you talk about that a couple of times. That usually is happening in the beginning. You're not going to get butterflies throughout the relationship, right? But if you're excited about it, I mean, like even getting to that part, I think is kind of challenging.
Yeah,
I mean, how many people do you talk to where you're like, meh, you know, this person is not for me, or we're not clicking. I think even finding that is difficult, but it seems easier because there are more options. But more options aren't necessarily better options, they're just more. And with each person, you're going to get something different. It's not necessarily better, it's just different. It's like what kind of things are good and work for you, and what kind of things don't work for you. I jotted down a couple of notes because you asked me to, maybe give some tips on dating. And, I mean, I think these are obvious, and you've probably mentioned something, to this effect in your previous podcast. But when dating, I think the hardest part is people get burnt out on dating.
yes,
Like they'll try, they'll get disappointed, they'll go frustrated, they'll shut it off, they'll go back on. And I think it's pacing yourself, and it's just kind of a similar advice that I give when people are interviewing, because that's a very nerve-wracking process. People will go in and they'll research a company, spend a lot of time going, oh my gosh, this is the perfect, role for me, prepare, and then become disappointed and upset when, they don't get the position, or they don't get the second interview.
hmm,
And instead of doing that, try to sit back and say, okay, well, anything that seems like maybe it could work, even if it doesn't sound great on paper, sometimes the role is much better than it sounds. And the opposite's also true. Sometimes what sounds like the perfect role is miserable.
yeah,
So, pacing yourself and saying, okay, well, I'm going to dedicate, 30 minutes to applying to places, 30 minutes to responding or reaching out to people, and see what happens. And that way you're not, getting overwhelmed or frustrated with the process. And then pay attention to what people do, not what they say, but are they consistent? Are they kind? Are they, is what they're saying aligning? I had one guy that put the wrong age, and
they love to do that.
yeah, and I said, and sometimes it's just like humorous to me. So I'm like, yeah. So what year did you graduate high school? And he was like, he's like, oh, I don't know why I don't remember. I'm like, I think I might know. You think about it and let me get back to me. Let me know if you figure that out.
I gotta do
It's
some
like,
quick math. Hang on.
It's
yeah,
always
it's
it's
like,
age and height for guys.
yeah,
Guys
yeah.
get freaked out about the height now.
Yeah, I don't get the age thing though. Like,
Well, they're trying to get younger women, so they're
yeah,
putting, a younger age. But if you're starting off with lies, I mean, unless somebody's not paying attention, which is not good. um, it's just not a good look.
No. No, those
Yeah.
are not the guys that you're gonna end up with. They're the ones who are like,
No.
"Oh, you just wanna
Well,
hook
right.
up or just be a pen pal or something like that," which
Right.
I don't understand that either. Do you have any insight on that, the pen pal thing? Because like, why? What is the point of that?
Well, I think that, people like the illusion of a relationship or a romance or a situation. And so, either I think for women, maybe they're not ready.
Mhm.
Well, for men too. But I think maybe they're not ready and they just want to kind of dip their foot in the pool and try to, see what's out there, or feel like they have options, or they're interacting without the ability to really, engage with people in a meaningful way. But this again is frustrating for a lot of people. And so, I mean, for me at least, if somebody isn't ready to meet with me in a very short order, they're immediately put in a friend or like acquaintance box, or just deleted altogether, because
Mhm.
I don't have time to text with people that I'm not interested in knowing further, for more than a few days. But usually it'll, I mean, if it progresses naturally, I think for guys, and actually I had a couple of questions for my male friends too, to find out their perspective, and what things are issues for them. So they gave me a little feedback, and I think it's
Oh,
slightly
cool.
different, but a lot of the same things too, for men and women. Men feel like women are falling off too, which I found interesting. I would think it would be more the opposite, but the male friends that I asked really said the same thing, that they'll engage in some conversation, sometimes really good conversation, and then it just falls off.
Mhm.
um, and I think people are distracted. People have expectations that, maybe girls have expectations that guys will chase more, or something of that sort. But it is hard to maintain a text conversation,
It is.
long term, without
So,
knowing the person.
for me personally, like, if I'm talking to multiple people, I'm not gonna give the same level of attention to each person. So it doesn't mean I'm
Right.
not capable of doing it, because I can absolutely give a lot of attention to a specific person if I'm into them. But if I'm already into a conversation with someone else, I can meet someone great, but if I'm already talking to someone else and at a further point with that person, I'm not gonna give that other person the same level that I would have had I just met them on my own.
Right. Right.
Yeah, when the
Yeah.
conversation drops off, I think yeah, that's probably one of the most frustrating parts. You start talking to someone, and like the first day or two, it's really good, and then it's like it's nothing for 2 or 3 days, and then it's like okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the longer, conversations I've had via text were more fun and funny, but not didn't have depth to them so much.
Mhm.
Actually, I have kind of a funny dating story. I'm still friends with him. He's great. But we started off, and he's a very funny guy. Um, so we started talking. We started talking then via, like he would FaceTime me every morning. And I mean, this went on much longer than with anybody else, because he was just funny. And,
That'll do it.
yeah. And so I appreciated that. But like after like, I don't even know, it was a while. Like he would call me, FaceTime me every morning when he got to work. And I'm just like, okay. And then finally I said something to him like, um, basically I said he was lazy. I made a joke, but I said he was lazy because like you're not, you know, going the extra step to actually ask me out. You're obviously interested. You're spending the time to call me every morning. So he did. He made a plan um, to come out and take me out to dinner, which he did. The funniest thing ever is I laughed so hard. I was like tears were rolling down my face. He told a story that he took a nap and had a dream that he came into my house and long story short, I had a husband here that was working out in the back, and my husband said, "Get the rag, Bijana," and I chloroformed him. And I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "You are terrified of me. You are absolutely terrified." But I was just like cracking up. I'm like, it's hilarious that you had this dream. It's also hilarious that you're telling me about this dream. So, yeah. So we went to dinner. It was very nice. It was good. And then, the next day it happened to be Valentine's Day,
Oh,
and he sent me 3 dozen roses to the house.
3 dozen roses?
3 dozen roses at my door when I
Wow.
got home from work, which again is lovely. We started talking again, like continue to talk every morning. But then another 2 or 3 weeks went by. He didn't ask me for another date. And
Oh.
I'm like, what in the world is he doing? Like, what is this? So then I say to him, I said, you know, what is this? What do you want from me? Honestly, like what's going on? So he's like, well, I need to, this is a conversation that we need to have. I can't text this. And I'm like, okay. So I called him and he's like, well, and this is not at all what I expected him to say. And he said, well, I'm in love with you. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay, okay. And
so he
I
doesn't
can't-
wanna hang out.
um, yeah. So then he says, this is a true story. Um, he says, well, I'm in love with you, but my dick is broken. And I know you're going to need that at some point. And I'm like, what in the world are you saying to me right now? What's going on? And he's like, yeah, I had an injury from my, last
Oh,
girlfriend.
injury.
And yes, an injury. And I'm like, have you been to the doctor? Like, aside, like what? I'm like, what is going on? So I'm like, okay, you need to go to a urologist. Okay. Like, I don't even like, this is not even a conversation about what you're doing with me. You need to go to a doctor. Okay.
Right.
So I sent him the number to a urologist in his area. Very nice guy, but that was pretty much it. We still talk occasionally, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yours is still broken.
I don't know. I don't want to know. I mean, I thought it was a very strange situation. Really. I mean,
That's interesting because, like, it sounds like a little bit it reminds me of Susie's story. So we had you listen to the podcast. So
yeah.
Susie, when she had the guy who kept, like, not wanting to meet, it's because he had an ankle monitor.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe
But
it's a curfew or
what
something.
but why are you dating though?
Right.
Like if or say I'm not, I'm asexual or whatever the
Yeah.
situation is. I mean, whatever it is, there's somebody out there for
Right.
you. And why are you making assumptions about me? I mean,
Yeah, you don't
like
know.
I mean, I don't know. It's just it was very very strange, and I'm like, okay then, well. So I had that dating story,
That's a
and
good
then
one.
yeah, I believe me, I have even better ones. Some of which would be embarrassed to tell, um, but just because they're out there,
Yeah.
the things I've experienced. But the other thing that I thought was really funny, I actually dated 2 different male models, and not current male models. I mean, they were male models
Right.
once, right? And both of them talked ad nauseum about their male modeling career,
Of course.
and took tons of selfies. They were always taking
Mhm.
selfies and sending me their selfies, and I'm like, this is just weird, like you're not a 14-year-old girl. Why am I getting like 5 selfies a day from you? And like the first time you say, oh, I was a male model, like it's interesting, right? But after like
Mhm.
the 10th time, I'm like, okay, Zoolander, like I get it. You're a male model. I mean, that was 25 years ago. Nobody gives a shit really, but
Right.
you. So it's not really a flex at this point. So
That's not surprising at all.
I would have
Yeah.
told him to give him a blue steel, right? What was the look he did in
It's
Zoolander?
a blue steel. It's
No,
like,
it's the famous look they do at the end. There's a name for it.
oh, the new
Oh,
one?
yeah. I don't know.
He
I
does
just
it. Yeah, that
I haven't
movie.
seen the movie in forever, but that's what I thought of. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I mean, but yeah,
that would
those are my
be,
dating stories, like off the top of my head. But
that would be their nicknames for me. Zoolander,
Mhm.
Zoolander 2.
Zoolander 1 and Zoolander 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, you really do meet all kinds of people, but I try to take my own advice, and like I tell people all the time when they're dating or when they're, really whatever they're doing is it's not a question of like what you want, but what are you willing to do to get it. So sometimes I'll say to people that want a significant other, like if I told you you have to date 50 people to get to your person, how quickly would you do that? And they'd say, well, I would date a person once a week. And I'm like, well, that might be what it takes. Because your perfect person, the perfect person for you, is not necessarily going to fall into your lap.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I went through um many, many profiles because I don't know what it is. I've heard other girls say it right now. I'm off apps right now because I just can't handle them. But like, I've heard multiple people saying they're getting like an influx of likes right now. And I don't know if it's summer. I don't know if people are just bored. But like, I went through a couple hundred likes
Yeah.
and I hated all of them. And I don't know if it was just because I was like not in the right headspace for
But
it.
I think there's a difference between like men and women. I think there's I would love to hear the numbers, like, because I feel like it's like for every one woman, it's like 400 or 500. Because I feel that way. Because you hear a lot about women will show you like, oh, here's the profile, and you see likes, and it's just like triple digits and stuff. And I just feel
I think guys tend to, and I don't know if this is true or not, I feel like men swipe right a lot more than women do.
Yes, I think that's true.
So I think
Yeah.
that's where the
I,
disparity is.
I mean that's what I've heard. I don't have the exact
Right.
information from the website, and who knows if they are giving accurate numbers. But I think that that's true. Men are willing to swipe on somebody and then see if they like them after the fact, if it matches, where women are more like, okay, does this person look like somebody I would date? So I think it's a slightly different system, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think in all the apps, it's you end up seeing a lot of the same people too. Um,
Yes.
because, and I think a lot of that has to do with people jumping in and out.
Mhm.
So the people that are always on there are always on there. And then, you'll get whoever is,
Yeah,
ready in
that's
the
funny.
moment. Yeah.
When I initially joined apps, I matched with our guest from several episodes again, Tristan. Um, and I met someone, got off apps, got back on them like a week later because it didn't work out. And he was there again, like in the first like hour I was on. He popped
Mhm.
up. I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" I'm like, "It is all the same people." So I've
Yeah.
seen that too. It's a lot of the people that I had seen previously. I matched with a guy when I jumped back on apps again this time around. I had talked to him in like November and he didn't remember. I'm like, I remember you. But he's like, I would have remembered a podcast. I'm like, I didn't have a podcast then. But he didn't remember. I'm like, you talked to a lot of people, don't you?
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
And then I think also what's fun is like some of these face. There's a lot of Facebook like group, like single parents
Yeah.
dating pages, and we have a blast on them because it's just like the some of the responses and stuff, and I just like this. I find it so funny. Just
It's very
and
entertaining.
then you run into like you'll see some people on there, and then you'll see them on an app, and you're like, no, I don't want to deal with that.
Oh. Well, I
I
mean,
saw
I
you
think
on
the groups
Facebook.
might be good though. Like they probably encourage more activities and
Yeah.
people.
They want to get together, but yeah, it's very. We heard from someone like deep in there that it's still very cliquish. So everyone's got
Mhm.
their little groups and stuff. I was like, hey, it's just like high school.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The things I think are interesting, they do, like, speed dating and things like that. That's something I would, like, potentially do at some point, not this summer, but
Yeah,
eventually.
I've actually heard that the speed dating is good. People have, had some success with that because you are getting to know somebody, even if it's for a few minutes.
Mhm.
That tells you a lot more. And I'm sure that you both have had the experience where you're talking to somebody and it seems like it's a good conversation, but as soon as you meet them, you
Yeah.
know that it's not a love match. That happens,
It happens a
and
lot.
yeah, and you can't know. I mean, you could really like somebody as a person,
Mhm.
but that chemistry is just not there, and so you're not going to know that until you meet somebody face to face. And that's my advice to people when they are dating: don't waste your time talking to somebody, texting with somebody for months, because unless that's what you want. If you want that type of relationship or friendship, that's okay, but you're not going to know if you have chemistry until you are sitting across from that person, because that's a
Yeah.
whole, it's a different thing entirely.
Or I mean, sometimes I would like if I'm texting them, I'll get a phone conversation with them because that kind of tells me a little bit about them too. If I'm carrying the whole conversation, then I'm like, no, this is what our date's going to be like. So sometimes because I've had phone conversations where right, I mean, 2 minutes in, I'm just like, all right, I got to find an excuse. How do I get out of this? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And some people are really good on text, but not good in person. And the
Yes.
opposite's also true. Some people are not great on text, but
Mhm.
good in person. So, I encourage people to meet other humans whenever possible, because I think looking at the apps as a way to, get to know people, just it puts people in front of you, but you're not really getting to know anybody until they're in front of you. Um,
That's very true.
so it's just a tool to, get you the ability to meet people you wouldn't otherwise meet.
Because I'll say if they want children, I'll be like, nope, 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 nope. But I've even had that where they said they didn't want children, and then we started dating, and then all of a sudden they changed their mind. I'm like, no, like, are you dead set on that? Like, yes, yes, I'm dead set. No more, no more kids from me.
Well,
So
that's funny because I have a friend who's the opposite. He wants to have kids. He wants to get married because he hasn't done it yet, and so that is a, like, must do. So when he meets someone and they're like, "Yeah, I don't want to have any more kids," or whatever, he's like, "All right, no," and he's done. And he's actually had relationships that went really far, and that he was, like, really, like, in love with the person, and he still, like, was like, "I still, this dream of having a family is so important to me that
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue to pursue that."
Yeah, I mean, and that is important. And I think it's great if you know what you want,
yeah,
especially, at that stage. And you shouldn't compromise if that's what you want. I mean, and I think a lot of people are like, well, it'll just happen, or, things don't just happen. You make things happen,
Yes.
when I was dating, my husband, or my before he was my husband, I said very clearly, like, this is what I want. I want a family. I want to be able to stay home with my kids until they're school age. If you don't want those things, then you shouldn't be with me. And he was just like, okay. I mean, I don't know that he would have, like, I think he would have been cool doing whatever, but because he wanted to be with me, he decided he wanted those things. But I think sometimes people don't have those conversations early on, and it
Mhm.
creates issues in relationships, and that's not good. Because you can't expect somebody to know what's in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you want to do some advice that we questions?
Actually, before we jump into
Yeah,
advice,
Yeah.
you said that you had some notes.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear
I
those.
mean, I think I covered some of the notes, like some of
Mhm.
it. Like,
stuff on
I just
me.
wanna talk about Max.
yeah.
We'll get there.
The pay attention to what people, do, not what they say. That was one of the notes I had. Also, asking yourself, what do I like about this person rather than just like, do I like the attention they're giving me? Because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be liked, just like, on social media. Oh, I've got this many likes. But
Yeah.
really, does anybody care? And so, like, what do you want? What makes you feel valued and appreciated and special? What do you like about this person and how do they make you feel aside from the attention? I think that's important. Um, I think, I thought Max talked a little bit about getting hit on, and I thought about like men versus women, and I think over time, the things that I've heard men say, I think men overestimate how much that they're hit on. Like if you're nice and you're friendly, men think you're hitting on them. So it's
Yeah.
kind of awkward sometimes if you're a friendlier person as a woman because men will think you're flirting with them when you're just being friendly.
We
Um,
want that. We want that. It helps her. It helps us. Like, yeah, she was hitting on me. All right.
My dad thinks people are hitting on him all the time, and he tells me about it, and it just kills me. I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, yeah, it's cute and it's funny because I've had this situation where I've had friends go, "Oh yeah, this girl was all over me. She was really into me." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, what'd she say?" And I'm like, "She asked you where the taco bar was. How's that
Yeah.
hitting on-" Like, I mean, but he's convinced because she spoke to him that um, she was
So
into him,
true.
and I guess that's okay. And I think the opposite is true for women. I think women, like for me to know that a guy is hitting on me, he'd have to be really like obvious about it. Um, uh, like he'd have to be direct in his intention, other than like leering or doing something weird.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't just because somebody's nice to me, I would not assume that they were flirting or hitting on me.
Yeah, I agree. Usually
The
it's
other thing,
creepy, so that's how
yeah,
I know is I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm creeped out."
the other thing I thought was pretty funny is Max's take on being a sugar baby. I thought that was pretty interesting, and I'm like, man, and I think this is like something that like I've run into too with other guys that are in their 40s and 50s. It's like at 48, okay, your sugar mama is going to be like 65, okay? Like that's what we're talking about. Because like if you're a 50-year-old woman and you're getting a sugar baby, like it's that that's going to be like maybe 30s, early
Yeah,
30s. So something to think about.
Maybe I'll shave and I'll look like a young 40.
sure.
There you go. There you go. But like I think with age too, like women are very conscious of their age. Where I think men feel like, I said to one of my friends, like, oh, she's into older guys. Now, mind you, he's 60, and he's like, what do you mean older? And I'm like, I mean older. You're older. You know what I mean? But he doesn't see himself that way, and I guess that's great. But
Yeah, to me, like age means like the two things that I don't really care about is age and height. So, and I know it's opposite. That's what guys get paranoid about, which I understand. Like what we talked about in the beginning of the conversation about like lying about your age. You can lie about your age and might get away with a couple years, but like you can't lie about your height. Like it's they're
I mean, you can. We're just gonna figure it
yeah, you
out.
find out. Yeah,
yeah,
like to me, like a lot of like feel like, well, what I'm not really like I don't really have like deal break. I mean, my deal breakers is if they want to have kids or not. But age and height don't. That's never put into. I mean, you have a range. I mean, I don't want like too young, but so I
I feel
never
like it's more important to me, but that's also I don't know, it's not working.
some but
So
some people are could be younger and very more mature. Like there's
yeah.
people I work with, and then I have a couple that they're young, but they're a lot like more mature for their age, and then there's people that are like in their 50s and 60s, and they're just not even there. So
Yeah.
right.
It's just a number because I'll say that the 38-year-old I dated was the most mature person I've met of all the guys I've dated. He's by far the most mature, and he was the
Yeah.
youngest.
Yeah,
more
I
mature than
definitely,
me.
I
More mature
think
than you.
I definitely think, it whatever your maturity level is, I think at I don't know, late 30s, early 40s, like that's what it is. That you're not going to be much different at 60 than you were at 40. And I think I always dated older guys. My husband was older, and then when I realized that, um, yeah, it's not really benefiting me at all to date older because they're not more mature, and they aren't more sure of themselves or know what they want necessarily. So why am I doing it? Like, so then I kind of switched gears, and decided like, okay, maybe I'm okay with dating younger guys.
Yeah,
So
that's something I've realized, like, it doesn't matter how old they are, they don't know. They don't know what they want still.
yeah,
Because I dated a guy 11 years older than me,
yeah,
and he very much had no clue. Like, he was very sure, and he's like, "Oh, nope, just kidding. I have no idea, this is freaking me out." Like,
yeah,
I'm like, "Ooh, okay, he's a little older than I'm used to, but, like, we connected, we have a good, like, vibe and stuff." And then, it was too much, too soon, too fast, that's a quote. And it was all
yeah.
led by him, and I was like, "Okay, this older guy is gonna know what he wants. He's older." No, not at all.
No, my
I,
maturity level barely 30, I think.
I
Yeah.
mean, to some extent, I like that because I think I'm kind of young at heart too. So,
Mhm.
like, a person does need to be, lighthearted and youthful. But, and I think that too, sometimes when guys are, I'm sorry, this is a little sexist, but when guys are single too long, they forget how to be a partner to someone.
Yeah,
It's probably the same for women, but you know, I think that that's hard too. I think the longer that you're single, the less likely you are to make room for somebody in your life.
that's very
That
true.
makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. I've had older relatives that I've seen that happen with, like, they met someone and they're like, "Nope, I don't wanna have someone in my I can't deal with another person, like, in my house every day,"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "This is something you've been looking for years and years, and now you have it," and they're like, "No.
right.
I've been
Yeah.
alone my whole life, I don't need to start something now," and I'm like, "Okay, you know what you want."
Yeah, I know. It is hard. I mean, it is hard to incorporate somebody into your life, even in the smallest ways. But, you have to decide like what's important to you. What do you value? Do you value that connectedness with somebody or, your independence? I mean, some people, have lots of friends and family. I mean, I'm close with my kids and, I have great friends. And so, like, I have those bonds with people. I don't necessarily need a husband or a
Mhm.
partner, but, would I like that? Sure, but you were talking about that before. I'm not also willing to settle for something that doesn't work for me.
Right.
So, if somebody's not adding something to my life, then it's not worth it to me to pursue.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, so we typically do in our, like, outro of our show, we'll do advice, and because we
Mhm.
have you here with us, I figured we could do it with you because you're
Absolutely,
probably a little bit better equipped to give advice than we are.
I will do my
So,
best. Yeah.
um, we have a couple questions. So this one is, I have been it's anonymous. They always are, so I don't even introduce that now. I've been divorced for 3 years. I'm 36, single mom. I was married for 10 years. I attempted dating apps, but never met anyone I felt compatible with until 2 weeks ago. He's fun and charming and a few years older than me and a divorced single dad. We hit it off until he told me how many women he has slept with. It was a lot. We have had 4 great dates and have only kissed. I'm extremely attracted to him, but I'm struggling to get over his high body count. What if he's only interested in sex? I haven't connected with anyone like this since my ex husband, and he's made it clear he really likes me. I don't know that I want to walk away just because of this. Any advice?
And how old did she say she was?
36.
I mean, I think that's an interesting conversation to have with somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my question would be, why the high body count? Is it because he was, not looking for something serious before now? I wouldn't necessarily, judge him for that if he was just dating casually. I mean, obviously, nobody likes to think of their partner with tons of people. Like, that's,
Mhm.
whether you're male or female, that's not something you want to think about. But I guess the first thing is, he's being honest,
Yeah.
where he could have, not been. I wouldn't necessarily say that that should be a deal breaker. I would just ask questions in terms of like why so many women. Is it because he didn't connect with somebody and he was trying, dating casually, wasn't
Mhm.
ready? I mean,
Got a
I
lot
mean,
going in
it's
college. I don't
That's what I
know.
said. He could have been in college for 6 years, so that's
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily
or is it
rule
just
that
high
out.
compared to her body count? First of all,
Right.
that's a tricky question. I don't know that
Yeah.
early dating how that comes up, like right before dessert. Oh, hey, by the way, what's your body count?
Well, and I mean, I think that, the other, I guess, question would be, is he inflating it so he seems more,
Yeah.
I mean, which I think guys would do, but maybe to other guys. I don't know if they would do it to a
Yeah.
girl or say that to a girl. I don't know.
There used
I
to
mean,
be a ratio. There used to be like a formula. So like that when you talk to a girl, you take like 10, like whatever it is, like you take half of it off. When you talk to your guys, you like double it, and that's kind of the whole thing. So if he gave her, a low end count and it's actually higher, then
I'm just giving her more anxiety now. She's like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
it's higher."
well, and I mean, I don't know. I guess, it's an interesting conversation to have at that age, I
It
think.
is. Yeah.
Like usually you would ask, like, what have your relationships been like? Because that tells you more than,
Mhm.
you
but that's
know,
also a 36-year-old, and they didn't say how old he was.
He said a couple years older, so
Yeah,
38.
so they're not even at
Yeah.
40 yet. They're young. They're youngins.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, if that would not be a great reason to rule somebody out,
I
unless
agree.
you think that he is just somebody that likes to sleep with a lot of women. I don't know what the number is. I mean, if she
Right.
said 500, I might say like,
Get
okay,
tested. Yeah.
well, I mean, but to her, 10 might be a lot.
Right.
So it's hard to really say without understanding what her concern is.
Yeah. Very true. I agree. I don't think it's a deal breaker unless, like you said, it's like 500 or something crazy. Um, if that's the case, I'd be like, "You know what? It's so nice to meet
Right, right.
you.
Like, okay, that's
Bye."
yeah,
What's
yeah,
what's
that's
the number that you would walk away? Like 30?
I don't know that 30s. I know people like I don't think it depends on
Triple digits definitely, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's not even something that I've ever thought about, and,
yeah,
like,
I
I
don't think
think
it's ever come up. I mean, you like you said,
the
you
conversation
probably
would
yeah.
probably be like, you know, I would just be like, "No, no to this conversation."
yeah. Like, let's not discuss this because it's not like we don't know each other's. So, and we've been we dated for 5 months, been friends for I won't
I don't
tell
even
you how long because I'll freak you out. But
I don't yeah, I wouldn't even I would have to think about that.
yeah, because it
Yeah,
doesn't
I don't
matter to me. Like it doesn't like I don't. It's for me anything that was before me. I kind of don't care as long as it was like wasn't like criminal or anything.
yeah,
I kind of
yeah.
just like
Yeah,
that's not
unless it
me. So
seems like unusual. I mean, if you're I mean, I would probably do the math like, okay, I'm calculating if he's been single for 30, 40 years, you know what I mean, and he's dating,
well,
what's
it's
an
worse that
appropriate
he was married though. He's divorced too.
uh,
So like, how is it that high?
I
College.
don't
Depends on how
know.
long you were married for. I don't
Well,
know.
we don't know. We don't know how high it is though,
Right. That's
That's the
true.
question,
That's
what is
true.
high?
Like if hers is 2 and his is like 14, of course she's going to be like
Yeah. Okay. 14. I'm not gonna be mad about, but I don't
Yeah.
know that I'm gonna. I think honestly, it had to be like a ridiculous number for me to be like, ooh, ugh. But I've never actually asked
but
What
then
anybody
would
you're
that.
be the
probably be
ridiculous
intrigued
number,
like, "Ooh,
100?
Maybe,
Hmm.
maybe triple, yeah, maybe triple digits would cause me some pause, but I don't even know.
Anything over 50 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
But
no
I don't know
idea.
if it even like for a guy, like I don't think there's a number he'd be like, okay, so
What if it was
What
like
do you mean?
300?
I'd be
Like
like,
for
make
you,
sure you're
like
tested.
so you wouldn't care if you
I wouldn't
met.
care. I guess that's not true because if it was triple digits, then I'd be like, were you a like in a different line of work for 10 or 12 years? I mean, so
Okay, let's go to the next question.
Okay.
Um, we kind of cover that one. This one I titled "Am I Being a Snob?" I've been seeing this guy for a few weeks. He did not go to college, and I typically date men who did and have professional careers. However, that's not been working for me, so I've decided to broaden my horizons. Not going to college is not the end of the world. He makes decent money as a repo agent and honestly appears to have his finances in order. However, last night on a date, he told me he did not graduate high school. He has paid for his GED but has not yet taken the test. He didn't tell me sooner because he's embarrassed. I don't know what to do. I do really like him, but I don't think I ever would have considered him if I knew he hadn't even graduated high school. Am I being shallow? Hoping for some constructive advice.
Um, yeah, I think, I know a lot of really, really smart people that never finished college.
Mhm.
School is not for everyone. And depending on what his situation was, there could have been extenuating circumstances that led him not to finish high school. Um, that does happen. How old is this person?
They didn't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel like this person is, meeting your other criteria, if they're intelligent, if they're hardworking, um, you know, holding that against them, might work against you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he's got a good job. He
Yeah.
has his life together. That's all
Yeah.
you can honestly hope for at this point, 'cause
Yeah.
so many don't.
Right. I mean, you could be, college educated and, not have a job,
Right.
so
I understand. I mean, I understand kind of the high school where she is, but also, but I mean, it sounds like he's got a pretty good career, so it really doesn't matter at that point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows why that happened. I mean,
Yeah, it could have been a family situation. It could have
right,
been.
right.
Or just like a lack of support and
Yeah.
or just bad choices because we all do dumb things when we're young. So,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, I agree. I think if you like him and he has his life together now, that's what matters.
Yeah.
It matters a
I
lot
mean,
more what you're doing now than it does when you were 18.
right.
Because what was I doing at 8? Well, I was a mom, but like, what were you doing at 18?
Graduating high school.
Mhm.
No,
And
well,
I'm on my
kind
way
of
to
just
college, and I didn't need. I wish they didn't have gap years back in like the mid '90s. I would have needed one because I probably would have done a lot better. That
yeah.
was rough.
But like the decisions you're
Oh
making, the
yeah,
type of person you were, like you're
decision I'm
very
making
different.
now are somewhat.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Questionable? Really?
I very much agree with that statement.
but I've kind of feel kind of this question because I want like that's one of the things too is like I want someone that's kind of independent and successful, not like successful money wise, but like you know if they're like a cashier at a gas station or they're and something but like you said, do they add? I like what you said. Do they add value to your life?
Mhm.
So sometimes but it could be I don't think it becomes a deal breaker unless you're like kind of getting serious and then you're like, oh, am I going to have to financially support this person? But
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's really about like, you know, is this person passionate about who they are and what they do? Like, it doesn't matter what it is, um, if you are an artist, are you passionate about that? Like, I admire that. If you are, you know, a home designer or like a general contractor, are you passionate about the things that you do?
Right.
um, do you enjoy what you do? So that, is more important to me than, necessarily the job that the person has, or their, even their educational background, if they're intelligent. Because like I said, I mean, some of the smartest people I know were not college educated.
I
That
agree.
happens. um, I think, the hard part about, being more educated and having what's traditionally thought of as a professional career is that as a woman it becomes makes it more difficult to date, because a lot of men don't like that.
Mhm.
So it's funny because I will often not talk about, until somebody asks me, I won't mention that I'm a therapist, or any details about that, because people are kind of like, oh, like, I don't know, it's a strange thing. I also, yeah, I don't, and I think that's weird too, because it's like, it's not bragging, because men will be like, oh, I do this for a living, but
Mhm.
I just feel like I need to be more like reserved about it, which I'm not sure if all women feel that way, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I met you, I was in like I had a job that I had been working for my whole life, and I was finally like a department head, and I was like really proud of where I was.
yeah,
And it was like, I don't know, part of it was like people were like, "Oh, so you make a lot of money." I'm like, "Well, let's not talk about that right now." Like that's not a discussion we're having on the app, you
yeah,
know. But
right.
yeah, so I can kind of see that. But then I also realized that was the whole thing that you were talking about, that with job interviews. Um, I had this whole idea of what I wanted and what I've been working like decades for, and I got
Hmm.
it, and I was like, "Huh, I hate this."
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like I thought I wanted this for so long, and I'm in it, and I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be at all. And so I've taken a step back in a role that I would not have applied for prior to this, and I'm the happiest I've ever been at work.
That's great. And
Yeah.
that, I mean, that's the most important thing is, doing what you enjoy, where you feel
Mhm.
comfortable. Because that's where, life is, a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to enjoy, working day to day, not just being in a role that you think, will provide
Right.
status or, income
And
or
that's what
whatever.
I cared about. I was like, I hit this level. I'm so proud of it. I can brag about it. The thing is, nobody cares except for me, you know.
That's true. Yeah. People,
So,
people don't care.
Yeah, for me, I took a step back because I wanted to be there more with the kids during the divorce, and it's like I used to run big warehouses, and the stress level, like my phone would always be going off. Now I'm at a smaller company 10 minutes down the road, and they allow me to take off for the kids, and I'm in the kids lives a lot more, and I love it. It's like, yeah, do I want to get paid more? Yeah, but like the stress level is so minimal, it's amazing. Like when I get home at 5 o'clock, I don't think of work. I'm like, I don't think of work till like the next morning I get there. I think that's important for a lot of
oh yeah,
people.
quality of life makes a
Absolutely.
huge difference. It's so much more important than the status because nobody cares
Absolutely.
about that other than you.
Right.
Yeah, I used to have
Absolutely.
3 phones and a computer. I'm like, no, I don't want that. I want to go
No,
home and like not worry about that. So
because that's not what makes you happy at the end of
Right.
the day.
I really thought it would, and it did not.
Yeah.
But that's interesting because that goes along with the same thing with dating. Is like, you think this is what I've been aiming for. This is what I've been dreaming about, and then you get it, and you're like, okay, maybe not. you know.
Right. Right. I mean, I feel like, for me, it's really, really simple. It's just, like interacting with a person that is authentically themselves, that feels comfortable and is open to connection. The status stuff I don't care about. Like it really, and I think that's why a lot of times I downplay what I do, or um, that I own the practice or any of that stuff, because I don't want people to be like, oh, I need to, puff up. And I've had guys say, oh, have you dated anybody that drives this kind of car? And I'm like, yep, have. Don't care about that. Have
Yeah.
you dated anybody this tall? Yep. Nope, I don't care about that either. I
Right.
mean, I care about your character and who you are as a person, not the stuff you have. That means nothing to me.
Yeah, I'm same page. I've had a friend who wanted me to go on, like, apps where you're dating other professionals because she's like, "You're
Hmm.
gonna have a higher chance of meeting someone really successful there," and I'm like, "I don't care about that." Like,
Yeah.
I don't. Would it be great to have be with someone who's, like, super rich and has, like, a boat and stuff? That'd be great for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, do I need that? No. I don't care. I care more about the
I'll
connection.
take a boat. I want a boat.
Well, that you know what, you could put that on your. There's actually sites for that, Max. You could
I
get.
remember years ago before like apps were big, there was something I remember someone telling me about that, and people would like take pictures next to planes and stuff. Yeah, like, well,
I mean,
there's a high end there's a couple high end dating apps, and then there's one where celebrities go where you have
Raya.
to get where you get
Mhm.
approved. Yeah, I kept seeing the one for the league, and I thought that was kind of bullshit, but that was like for high end successful
That's
people.
one she wanted me to join.
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know much about that. I'm guessing probably
Yeah.
there's not a lot of
But I like the
people.
point you make. That I guess I never took it like that. Like, where does this person add value to your life?
Well,
That
and I guess my question too is, men would men that like so the league, my guess is that there are going to be a lot more women on there than men because are successful men necessarily going, "Oh, I want my woman to make a lot of money too." Do they
Right.
care as much about
Are
that?
they looking for
Probably
another
not.
professional as much as a woman is looking for another professional? Probably
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting to find out the stats on that.
Yeah.
I bet you're right. I bet it's a lot more women than men.
Mhm.
yeah, I could take a picture. I could go to an airport and take a picture next to a plane. They're gonna think I have my own plane, and like
Max Air.
I think
People
I
do
saw it.
like
Like I thought I saw it like on it was like an Oprah or something, and that website. Like yeah, before I went. Speaking of like all the websites and stuff, so did you ever watch that documentary on Ashley Madison?
I didn't. I started to watch it, but I
So
didn't.
the first one was on Hulu. That was like 5 6 years ago. But then a new one came on Netflix,
That one was good.
and
That's when I
yeah, the
saw
one
it.
on Hulu is really good because it dives more into the whole Ashley Madison and what they went after, and pretty much they were Tinder before Tinder. Like
Mm.
that's I mean, but it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting because it kind of was before the dating apps were around. So and the way their marketing strategy was literally like, you know, cheating's okay. Just do it with us.
The interesting thing was there was a lot of fake they made fake accounts, like the company did.
Bots, like yeah,
They
doing the
had employees pretending to be women
Oh,
because they
wow.
had so many more men than women that they're like,
Yeah.
we gotta bring more women on, so they made people up.
Wow. Well, that's
Yeah,
not surprising. I mean,
yeah,
especially if it's like, a cheating. Well, I mean, it seems like more men would be on that type of site than women, I would
yeah,
think. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think more men are faster to engage in technology associated with, dating and engaging with women. I mean, I don't know. That would be my guess.
yeah.
And I think that now, um, it's just kind of how it is because it's, the other thing too is like you talked about meeting people organically, and I think people don't want to take that chance to go up to somebody and try to engage with them when they don't know if they're single or interested. With the
Right.
apps, at least like that person is interested, they are single, so it makes it much easier, but
And we hope
you're
they're single.
also.
yeah.
Yes, but you're not getting that, you're not
Yeah.
getting that interpersonal connection that you would in person, so it's too bad.
I think the most
um
interesting way to meet someone is through work because I think you get to know someone at a much slower pace and you kind of get to know their
yeah,
personality so much more. I would never date a coworker. So
yeah,
that's the issue there. But like my parents met at work and I don't think they ever would have met otherwise because I don't know that my mom would have gone for my dad or I don't know. But I think they got to know each other because they're working together and they're like, wait, we like each other.
yeah. I mean, that's a nice way to meet if you can.
Hmm.
I mean, but for a lot of people, It's either the therapists that work for me or my clients, so I'm not really meeting anybody at work, so there's no chance of that happening.
That's probably frowned upon.
Yeah, dating client. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was great. So, like, honestly, if you'd be up for it, I wouldn't mind having you back for
I'd
some
love
advice
it. I
on
absolutely
those
would.
and
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and it was so nice to meet
It was
you.
nice to meet
Absolutely.
you.
It was so nice to meet you both. I was excited to be on. I love listening to you. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
Thank you so much. All right.
All right.
thanks.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good night.
Bye. Would you still wear a Christina as the best sweatshirt even though that we're not, like, a couple?
Maybe a hat, because
A
I could
hat?
take the I'm single hat off, and I could put
Mhm.
Christina's the best.
That's great.
Winner, winner, winner.
That's a solid friend, because I don't think my other friends would do that. So
Yeah, hat. I mean, it depends what kind of hoodie. 'Cause I love hoodies.
mhm.
I like
Christina's
my
the
peach
best.
hoodie. I was gonna bring that out again, but I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll change it up. I'll do a little collar shirt, like
Who
cuff the
helped you
collar.
pick out the peach hoodie?
What?
Who helped you pick out the peach hoodie?
Just a friend.
Mhm. Great taste. Great. So, we're back. Welcome
Mwah.
back. It was a great conversation with Biana. She's
That was
amazing.
awesome. I think it's nice to have a perspective of a therapist.
Yes.
She deals with it on a daily basis, and hearing kind of, so I guess coming from her, it comes off a little different. Like you said, a professional. Like, have we made it? But
Right?
like I said, the thing that
Legitimate, like
I guess I never. I think the one of the agendas we can get to later, the whole professional thing, because I'm big with that. Having not not so much what you do, but do you have a future? Like, do you have a plan? I'm big
mhm.
with that, and some people say I'm crazy, but I love when she talked about, does this person add value to your life? And I guess I've never thought of it like that, and that's how you kind of have to think of it. Does this person add value to your life? Like, without this person, like, is your life different? And I like that.
Yeah.
And then the whole, I think her story about the guy with
Oh.
the broken dick. I think what it points out is how just like people are just, they're just scared. They're just like, and he said he loved her, but he didn't want to ask her out, because then if they keep going out, it's they're gonna come to a point where he's gonna have to tell her. I thought that was interesting. That's what I loved about that story. Is like, it wasn't so much that what was wrong with him. It was just like, he was so into her, but he didn't want to ask her out because he knew every time he went out, it was going to be a step closer to having to tell
Right.
her, and then the disappointment. And that's the thing. It's like this, like the how even like you see these people on these apps or whatever, the beautiful people, and like, oh, they're white, but everyone has that just self doubt of
Everyone has something they're really self-conscious about.
yeah, of course,
But the thing is, like, people who are into you, who are interested, don't care.
in the beginning,
You'd hope.
right?
So,
Especially in the beginning, trying to, because that's the
yeah.
thing, and we'll get into. I didn't bring it up, but I'm like, I feel like, I guess you couldn't have this, but I was always thinking like, what if you had dating apps without, let's say Instagram wasn't invented, but see, you can't really do that because it would. But if you just had dating apps and social media wasn't as prevalent, I think you would have a lot more success stories. I think social media has warped people's minds so much with like Instagram and Facebook and all these other.
In what way?
I think people look at people's lives and how people look, and it's like, oh, I can get like, so when a guy's with a woman and they finally sleep together, and everyone says like, after he slept with me, he just seemed different. Yes, that's how guys, I mean, a lot of guys operate that way. Once you sleep with them, you've kind of like, all right, I sealed the deal. And then they think in their head, okay, if I got this, and then he thinks of social media, I could probably get better. Then you go on social media and you see like all like these women or the men that are like living the life and stuff, and like, yeah, yeah, and maybe one, like, you send a message to one and they respond to you, then all of a sudden your head is this. I just think social media has warped our minds and like how life is supposed to be and how you're supposed, like the perfect picture. I
Right.
mean, I that that's that
Well, the whole problem with Instagram and Facebook is it's a highlight reel of your life.
yeah.
So you're not showing the bad stuff. You're not showing the bad some
And
people
then
do.
you can cover up a miserable
Yes.
marriage, a
Yeah.
miserable relationship. Oh, you look so happy. Well, yeah,
Well, because who's gonna post the bad? I mean, some people
right.
do. Some people love the drama, but, like, for me, I didn't post anything negative because I'm like, "That's no one's business but my own." And so I only post the good things. I only posted, like, the
And I don't
best
think they have the
moments.
meme for my marriage is falling apart because I would use that. I
Yeah,
think a lot of people would use that. And
yeah.
I just saw I'm not gonna say anything. I saw on Facebook someone I used to work with, and like I thought she was like really like happily married, and she
Mhm.
said separated, and I was like, holy shit!
Yeah, you don't know what's going on in anyone's lives, no
Because
matter who they
everyone
are.
has. There's always that person that says after you get, when they find out you got divorced, oh, but you seem so happy on Facebook.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah,
Like, you're not gonna post the you're not gonna be like,
and this
"Oh,
is
we had a
not for
really bad
anyone. Like
fight."
I got those too. I got those a lot because like, I think we had just celebrated our 10th anniversary, and like we posted all this, and it was like, I think I don't know if were we going through it. Because we separated. I'm trying to think when we separated. So it was no, like no, it was pretty close because yeah, our anniversary was in June, and then we finally decided to separate like in September. So we were going through the motions at that point. So it was almost like, oh, geez, but that's what you got to do, right? You got to put on a happy face.
Yeah, I mean, especially for social media, you're not gonna share the bad things, you're just gonna share the good stuff. Because why would you share the bad stuff? You
Just
know,
got
like
fired. Here I am at the bar. I think this is drink
right,
16.
yeah, and some people are very real and open with their lives, and, like, I feel like we're doing that with this podcast, like, we're very open with our lives and what we're
Remember what
going
Dave
through.
Chappelle said? When keeping it real goes wrong. See, I switched it up. You're expecting a Seinfeld, and I go Dave
And
Chappelle.
still
Bam! I'm
ooh, guess
multifaceted.
what?
You
I,
can't teach this. There's another wrestling, and you can't teach that.
so, I, you have a nickname. It was not I did not have a meeting with my board of directors. I had a suggestion from one of my girlfriends, and it was TV guy, now you're Seinfeld guy. Yeah,
I like that.
and that is temporary because if things get sour, we're no longer good, then your nickname is probably gonna change.
What do you think my name would change to?
We haven't decided yet. We're
Oh,
workshopping it.
Seinfeld guy.
Seinfeld guy.
Like, they could do
Mhm.
better. Your board of directors disappointing.
I didn't bring it to the whole board. This is just a one-on-one meeting with a creative team.
You could say quote guy.
Quote guy. Mm,
I do love Seinfeld. I don't quote Seinfeld
yeah,
all the time. I do have,
you do it a lot here.
yeah, because it's a great. I mean, it's a yeah.
But
But I
yeah,
have to watch Seinfeld to then remember some of the stuff.
yeah,
The
so that's your
jerks are
nickname.
called, and they're all out of you. That was oh god, fuck. George Costanza, man, love it, George.
Oh, how's that?
Vandalay Industries, say Vandalay Industries. They're importing,
Yeah,
yeah. See,
yeah.
if you meet if you like people at work, I guarantee you are Seinfeld fans because they're a little bit older, and you can just say,
At my work?
yeah, you would just say Vandalay Industries. Like, if someone asks you, "What did you do before here?" I'm like, "I worked in Vandalay Industries." Like, they will laugh. And if they don't laugh, then they're not a Seinfeld fan.
They
Then
don't
you'd be
get
like,
it.
"No, no, don't worry about it." But if
There's
they
a
start
guy
laughing, be like, "Right, import latex, right?"
there's a guy who sits by me who has, he's got a Seinfeld, like, book, but he's younger.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think well because of with all the do they even call it reruns? I guess so on TV
Yeah.
with the reruns and then the streaming. So I forgot Seinfeld was streaming on
Everything's
something.
a rerun now for Seinfeld. They
Right,
haven't
but I
made a
mean,
new episodes in
Seinfeld's
20
on, but
years.
before, like Seinfeld wasn't on any networks for the reruns, and then I think they did it. Was it with a Hulu or something? And then it just now it's on all the time because it's like when I turn my TV on, it gets Two and a Half Men, King of Queens, Seinfeld, sometimes Reba, an American Housewife, and then throws in a few others. And I'm like, this is perfect. Like
Yeah.
this is what I need. And make me feel even older today. Today I saw that it was the 20th anniversary of Entourage.
Is it really?
That makes me like hug it out, bitch. Like Ari Gold,
20 years?
huh?
Shit. 20
They're
years?
trying to bring it back, but supposedly Wahlberg doesn't want to. Everyone
I
else is
don't think
on
they need
board.
Wahlberg. Do they need Wahlberg? I'd be fine
Well,
without Wahlberg.
I think he owns the rights. He's the producer and all that.
Oh, that
He's
sucks.
weird. I'm
That
sorry.
sucks.
I think
Let's
he's
go to,
weird.
Wahlburgers and have a
Yeah.
chat. I went there on a date.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was 8 days, so not good. It did at the time, but, like, that was the after we broke up when we were trying to be friends. Oh my god.
How's that working?
Didn't. But it ended a lot shorter than this. Like, we were not friends very quickly.
That went against all my what I always said to people. If you date for, but actually, I think I said if you date for like more than a year, so we're fine.
I think I add value to your life, and you just can't get rid of me, right?
Well, you're a podcasting partner. I can't.
No, as
I
a
don't think
friend.
could either of us. Well, you probably could. You would probably get away with doing this more than I. I don't think I can get away with just doing a dating podcast by myself.
Probably not.
I would have to go more like my original podcast idea. I wanted to do like sports gambling and pop culture and
Mhm.
stuff, but
Who's gonna
every,
edit that for you?
everyone does that. I don't need to edit. Let's just be like one take max.
Sure.
Because no, with sports, it's just a ramble. You just
Yeah.
ramble on. It doesn't matter. I ramble.
Anyway, that was a great episode.
It
I'm really
was.
glad. I'm glad that we had her. There was something I wanted to talk about in the beginning, and I don't remember what it
We're really
was.
changing it up with the last few guests. So you had, you had a success story.
Mhm.
Then you kind of had a break with the guest, and then Bijana. So it was good. I was excited.
I loved her perspective on things, and I just feel like it would be so interesting because I feel like I know obviously, I'm not a therapist, I don't know what she knows, but to go into dating with the perspective she has and, like, when she says people are like, a guy starting to say something, and she's like, "Oh, he's really, like, fearful of this." I'm like, "Huh, I don't know that I would have thought of it that way,"
Like
but
when
she's
we
a
talk
therapist, she
about,
knows.
can you take the hat off, right? So my ex-wife was a teacher, and I always talked about taking a hat off from being a mom to a teacher. It's tough because it's just, that's what you know. And so I'm wondering from a therapist, when you're going on a date, can you have to take the therapist hat off, or
I
you
feel
just
like it's such a useful tool
right?
that you can't
See, that's a
because, like,
profession I think I could have succeeded in. Not so much being a therapist, just in that field altogether.
yeah,
And then
I
the
feel
way
like
sports psychology is, and the way counseling with young kids and stuff, I like everyone's like, "Oh, you can go back." No, I'm 48. I don't want to go back to
I
school.
mean, you could,
I could, but it's just, yeah, it doesn't add value to my life right now.
like me, your friend.
Maybe like if I was 40, I'd do it because you think about it, you got to go back to school, spend more money, right? And then you have to start your whole career over, and it's just like,
You can say something nice about me without it being weird,
what?
because 'cause I'm like,
You
"I
do
add
add
value
value
to
to
your."
my
Okay.
life, I admit. Yeah.
See, Christina really is the best.
No,
I'll work
you
on
add
getting you that hat.
value. You're not the best, but you add value.
I am the best.
Well, you have a sticker, so that's. We
Yeah.
talked about it this weekend with some of your friends, the stickers, and I asked them like, what do you think? Like, are stickers for adults? And they're like, for Christina, they are. So,
They all have stickers.
do we?
Sean cannot he's like, "Stop." So Sean loves the stickers.
I'm
He's
not
like,
supposed to use
"Okay."
names though. Shh.
Oh, it's fine. We're
Yeah.
not dating. He's my friend. We can talk about friends.
All right.
Yeah.
Jerry, George, Elaine, and Kramer. They're my friends.
Yeah.
The
That's
soup
right.
Nazi. There's a lot, and there's a lot of great cameos that you see now on
There
Seinfeld.
are. Yeah,
Like
that's
Tim
crazy the people that
Whatley
are on.
is Breaking Bad when he converts to Judaism just for the jokes. Bunny, yes. I meant to say money, but bunny came out. I don't know why that. I said bunny.
Get another sip. Ooh, should we tell the Cooper's Hawk story that we keep forgetting to tell?
Oh yeah, like every time we go.
Yeah, you need a break from Cooper's Hawk because we've been so many times. But so Cooper's Hawk had this program where if you sign someone up, you get this free bottle of wine. So
Well,
my
this
friend,
was BM before Max.
no,
When you
it
signed
wasn't.
up, no?
No, I signed up when I initially signed up. It was with you on a date with you when we went. We went for like lunch. It was the first time we went together.
Okay.
That's when I signed back up to be a wine club member.
But then you signed up again with
I signed up again because my friend Jack is like, "Hey, cancel your account and reopen a new one, and I get a free bottle of wine." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." And I get it. I guess I get one too. I don't know. And I'm like, "Fine." Well, I couldn't remember which email I signed up for the initial account with, so I'm like, "What account do I know I didn't use? I didn't use the No Dick Pics one." So I signed up for my new wine club account under no dick pics pod at gmail.com. You have any stories for us, any things you want to send us, send it there. Um, so I never got a card. I never got anything with a number. And so when they go to look up my account, they try with my name, they try with my phone number, it pulls up my old account that's canceled. So I have to give them my email address, which is super fun when you're sitting at the table and you're like, it's no dick pics pod at
and the
gmail.com.
reaction. So the first time the reaction, the
She's
waitress
like,
is
"What?"
like, okay. Then when we went up front to get the wine, the guy's like, what? And then you
No, he didn't
explain it
believe
to him, and
us.
he's like, oh man, I can almost get fired for that. Of course you have the card, so we hand the card out. So now
Yeah,
what you do, you kind of like you, you go and tell them like, listen, we have a podcast dating podcast. Here's
marketing.
the card. The email's on the back, and then you say it so it's not as such a shock to the
I
person.
know, I'm getting
But
used to
everyone
it.
loves it. And then this last weekend, not only did you give the waiter the card, you gave him a sticker, and he
Yeah,
wore the sticker.
yeah. If you're friends with me, because my stuff is private, but if you're friends with me on Instagram, I posted a picture the really happy waiter wearing the no dick
If
pic
you
sticker.
want free stickers, just email,
No dick pics pod at gmail.com.
and we will send out free stickers. You
Yeah,
know what I'm thinking we should
totally.
do?
What?
This is what we should do to get more people. Like people love. So I used to work in baseball. They love free shit. It doesn't matter what. I learned that lesson on Mother's Day. We had pink shirts and hats, and more boys and guys wanted those than like women. So I learned right there. People love free shit.
Yes.
So I'm thinking what we should do is we should get some swag,
Okay.
and then we can kind of say we'll give it away if you email us at this, and like we'll give out the like whatever. I mean, it's not gonna be. We're not gonna buy 100 shirts. We'll buy like 20 shirts, and be like the first 20 people that email us, we'll give it away, to see kind of if people are listening and wanting to do stuff.
That's a good idea. Yeah, some merch.
You're talking to a marketing communications major. Now, did I use that major? Absolutely not. But you're talking to a marketing communications major.
I was a marketing major for 6 months, so
Emphasis in public relations.
yeah, there we go. Alright, so you're gonna take over the marketing side of things?
I'm not going to take over. I'm just going to emphasize some strong
Mhm.
points I can bring to the table
You're gonna be more
under
than
a
just a
marketing
voice.
strategy
You're gonna bring some
umbrella.
skills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Skills pays the bills.
Yeah. We gotta
I
get
think Tim Hardaway Jr. said that.
some sponsors up in here.
The UTEP two step.
What?
Yeah, I could just ramble. This is why a sports podcast would have been perfect for me. I've just been like, oh, all over.
I mean, we
Tim
just ramble
Hardaway
on this one
Sr.,
too.
his son, Tim Hardaway Jr., plays in the league now. Tim Hardaway,
Cool. I don't know
Tim,
who that is.
Tim Hardaway Sr. is from Chicago, and he went to UTEP, and he had a nice crossover, so they called it the UTEP two step.
Cool.
Yeah.
Go sports.
Yay. Go team.
Go
Home team.
team.
I think that's my problem too.
What?
I always get attracted to the women that love sports, and then it just yeah.
What was your deal with me then?
I know you were like one of the first non-sports people. No, there's been a
Really?
couple. There was one like she had no idea. I was like, yeah,
I like sports. I just wasn't exposed to them a lot. I was at my dad's house, like growing up, but in my marriage, not really. Just hockey. That was it.
you got to branch out.
So yeah. Hey, I watched more football in this past year than I have in my entire life because every guy I dated was super into football. So
But there probably was like one team you really were like, that's a cool team, or a couple teams, right?
yeah, Detroit's okay. I'm still a Bears fan. I was told the 49ers are pretty cool too, but
Yeah, we
we
don't
don't
talk
talk
about the
about him
49ers.
anymore.
They
We're not.
took something from me.
What they take from you?
It took my heart, my soul.
They did. Why? That's
Had
so
that game.
mean.
NFC Championship game. The
Oh.
Lions had that game.
Oh, that's right.
Motherfuckers.
Oh, that was a tricky game for me because I was kind of rooting for both teams.
Why would you be rooting for the Niners?
Because my friend
I know.
was a fan.
Must
'Cause I
not been over them at that point.
yeah. Pro-
Ooh, we're finding out some spicy
no, wait. This is
details.
not. This is not news. We knew this.
Spicy.
We knew this. It took me a while to get over him. That was a rough one because I didn't have answers.
I feel you.
Yeah, and it wasn't that I wanted to be with him again because I didn't. I just didn't have answers. So I was like, I needed closure, which I still haven't had. But I don't care anymore. So
It's actually pretty interesting. You find closure when you find out someone you used to date is getting married, and then it's like, wow, that's some good closure.
yeah. How do you feel about that? You're feeling good? You're
I
feeling like
I thought I would be sad, and I wasn't, and I was actually
that's
like
interesting.
relieved. I was like, thank you. Like it was like it wasn't the closure I wanted, but it was like the
What did you
story.
want? What did you want?
I just wanted her to tell me the truth, like come out and just one day be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry about that. This is what was happening." Blah, which she wouldn't because she can't. She's not capable of doing that. I obviously my therapist told me that, and I knew that. But
He's not talking about me, guys.
right, but so when I saw that she was getting married, I was like, I didn't react really. Then the next day, I was like, man, I feel relieved because I feel like the book is over. The book is done. I throw the
Mhm.
book out. I don't have this, Not that I ever thought like, hey, would she ever, come back or do anything? Because I wouldn't do that because of the way she treated me. But you want closure. You just want like something, and that's the closure I needed. And I was like, boom, book over. Throw that book away. I'm not
There you
even
go.
I mean, see, in the most books I would return to the library because I'm a son of a librarian. But this book, like, burn,
You're gonna
fucking
pay the
burn.
fee and just throw
Right.
it away? Yeah.
So it's good though. Yeah. Yeah. You want that closure, and you're just like, why can't like this? Why can't you give it to me? But most people can't because they don't know. They don't know what half the time.
I feel like he attempted to give me closure, but he doesn't really know either, and I think talking to me is just not healthy for him, so he just doesn't, despite my sad attempts.
Yeah.
Ooh, do you wanna play a game? Do you
Not that word game again. Please no.
okay, hang on.
Jumanji.
Jeez.
Sex Pistols.
Whoa. Okay, isn't Lollapalooza
That
soon?
word game was brutal. I understand. No, I still don't understand what I. Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. Let's just call it a day.
Okay, we'll come up with a fun game next time because
Yeah, because we're gonna have a
they're
lot of stuff.
great content. Or maybe we'll just make a TikTok. We'll just make a TikTok, not related to the episode. Oh, okay. I got ideas.
I'm sure you do. I
All
could
right.
see the smoke coming out from your head. Oh, that's just Spider-Man again. He's actually camouflaged.
Into the roses.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm. All right. Well, that was a great episode.
it was. It was
It
very
was
educational.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good one, so people should definitely listen.
Yeah.
But by the time they reach this point in the episode, they've heard it. So but yeah, please rate and review us. We've had 10 ratings. Can you please go rate our podcast? Can you do
Yeah,
that right now?
I'll do it.
Go on Spotify. Go show everyone how easy this is. Go on our Spotify page. Do you subscribe to our podcast? Oh my god, Max.
I don't know, do I? Let me see
Does it
here.
show up on your home screen on Spotify as like
It
new
used
episode?
it used to, because
Dude, it's your home podcast.
how do you know if you're subscribed? I gotta hit follow. Alright, now I'm
Yeah.
subscribed.
Give us 5 stars. It's so easy. 5 star. Yeah.
I'm
So
trying to click on it, but it's not.
it's actually very easy. I'll help. He's old now. He's
No, it's my fat fingers, that's why.
48. It's rough. So please give us 5 stars on Spotify. We're on Facebook too, where you can watch full episodes.
Oh,
Since
no, you have to online, you have to do the 3 circles, and you gotta say "rate show."
okay, just rate us.
Yeah.
But
So you were wrong, so
okay,
a
follow us on
again,
our social. Not wrong. Follow us on social media. You can watch our full episodes on Facebook, on our Facebook page, No Dick Pics Podcast. Starting from the breakup one through now, I've been posting the full episodes. I'm probably not going to post old ones because that's a lot of work, but you can watch full episodes on Facebook. So follow us there. You can rate us and review us there as well. We don't have any, so you could be our very first review. Follow us on Instagram at No DPix Pod on Instagram. Um, Follow our food review, no food pics underscore IG. We've got an X account that I haven't updated in a while. All the good things. So follow us on social media. The Instagram's pretty funny because I post like funny stuff. What are you showing me?
my phone cover, I
Oh,
love it.
it's so cool. But yeah, I post funny things to our stories on Instagram, like funny, like dating related reels and
Funny like
memes,
haha or hilarious.
like hilarious because I post it. So it's gonna be fucking funny because I'm the funny one. I don't think I am this episode though. I feel like my energy's not matching yours. Had a long day. No, I didn't. Every day's a good day at Tootsie Roll. All right, we're gonna go. We will be back next week. We don't know with who or
Or
what.
what or where, but we will be
We
here.
will be back. All right.
We'll be back
Bye.
stronger than ever.
Bye.
Peace.